Well, a new following, top podcast host Joe Rogan opening a GETTR account on January 2nd. And since then, the company says it has seen over 1 million users sign up. That includes big names like Fox News host Tucker Carlson, Tulsi Gabbard, Congressman Matt Gaetz, Senator Ron Johnson. I am also there. Rogan made the move after Twitter banned Dr. Robert Malone and Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. Joining me right now is the CEO of GETTR, Jason Miller. Jason, great to see you. Thanks very much for being here. How important is it for GETTR to get somebody like a Joe Rogan to open the door to other big names?
Well, Maria, good morning. It's absolutely huge to have someone like Joe Rogan. Obviously, we saw what happened with Dr. Robert Malone, with Marjorie Taylor Greene, both being permanently kicked off of Twitter. Obviously, last night, we added the great Tucker Carlson, which, again, is another massive boost to the platform. But I think what we're seeing right now is this wholesale rejection of big tech, of people saying we have to have alternative platforms that don't censor people for their political beliefs. But I would say that, Maria, with all of these new folks who are joining GETTR, which we're glad to have all of them, I got to say, you were right at the beginning. You were ahead of this trend from the get-go.
Well, because I saw what was happening, Jason, and that is just not American when you have social media censoring information, and then we find out not only are they censoring information, but it was true. They're actually lying to us. Look what happened right before the election when Twitter censored the New York Post because of its exclusive reporting on Hunter Biden. And that situation continues.
Well, you're exactly right, because what we're seeing here is political discrimination, where the big tech social media companies agree with your free speech rights as long as they agree with the policies that you're saying. And it starts off small. It's kind of like the frog in the water that gets hotter and hotter. They take away this person's rights and they take away that person's rights. But then I think President Trump said it best when he said, if they're willing to do it to me, they'll do it to any of you. And now it's almost customary that anyone who has a center or center-right point of view finds a warning label or finds himself in digital jail. And Maria, they're not going to just stop with people who identify politically of being center or center-right. Look at the way that, say, a Nicki Minaj was put into digital jail, or the way that they're trying to cancel Dave Chappelle. So they're not going to stop until they completely frame the world in their own viewpoint.
Well, I mean, when and how did these people come to this decision that they are the arbiters of truth? I mean, who are they kidding? They're political hacks, and so many people who work at these companies worked in the Obama administration.
Well, you're exactly right with that as well. And I think it's also to keep in mind that, say, Twitter, for example, allows the Taliban, they allow Hamas, they allow the Ayatollah all on their platform, but yet they kick off a Dr. Robert Malone or a Marjorie Taylor Greene or President Trump. And nobody voted for Zuckerberg or Dorsey or any of these oligarchs in Silicon Valley. And I think that's part of the reason why you've seen a 40% drop in their stock over the past 6 months, which coincidentally we happened to launch 6 months ago. But people are starting to look now and say, why are we allowing these tech titans in Silicon Valley to determine our free speech rights? And Maria, if you think it's frustrating to us as Americans, imagine if you're someone who lives in Brazil or the UK or Japan, saying, why are the folks in California dictating our free speech rights?
And by the way, a word on Dr. Robert Malone, because it's important that we recognize what happened here. He is one of the founders of the mRNA technology, the underpinning of these vaccines. He comes out and he says something negative, and they ban him.
Well, exactly. And Dr. Malone is someone who's really unimpeachable when it comes to his street cred for, as you said, helping to develop the mRNA technology. And he's so smart and so detailed in the way he maps it out. And look, the way that we've now seen the science shift, or even see whether it be Dr. Scott Gottlieb saying that masks are worthless, or people saying, well, wait a minute, I thought the one jab and we'd be permanently cured from ever getting COVID. Now we have to get regular back and forth. I think there should be a robust debate around this. And I think that any time that we're all being pushed to go with one particular action, I think there should be questions that are raised. That's democratic thought. That's what separates us from the CCP. Yeah. It's a real slippery slope, Maria, to once we start taking it away, to finding out that we're an authoritarian regime like mainland China.
That's exactly right. And by the way, Scott Gottlieb, I think he's on the board of Pfizer. So, I mean, there's that, a whole nother conversation there. But let's focus on GETTR for a second. You're hitting some major milestones. You passed the 4 million user mark on Friday. You say GETTR is the fastest growing social media platform in history following that July launch. Where is this going? Do you feel like you have the resources to gain scale? Will you be able to grow without the help of big tech?
Well, another smart observation. So the great thing about GETTR is I've really set the focus from the day one, even before we launched the platform, that I wanted this to truly be a global effort. And so right now, our user base is only about 40, maybe 45% domestic here in the U.S. The rest is international. Brazil is about 15% of our platform. Japan is right around 10%. In fact, we have Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro and all three of his elected official adult sons who are on the platform as well. This is truly a global issue. It's not just in the U.S. where we have these frustrations with big tech, but we have very good funding, a lot of interest from a number of investors. In fact, I'll be having a number of investor meetings over the next couple of weeks, a couple of big partnerships and sponsorships that are coming up. But what we have a focus on here is protecting the free speech, but also making sure that it's a safe environment for people to join. That's why I think we have a smart, robust moderation platform that makes sure there's no illegal activity and that there's no threats or racial epithets or anything of that nature on the platform, so we can always defend people's political free speech and oppose cancel culture.
And for all of those reasons, I joined GETTR right from day one, and I'm posting on GETTR every day. I hope people come to GETTR and follow me because I'm posting some important news every single day. Jason, a word on President Trump. You've worked with him. Obviously, he's coming up with Truth Social. What can you tell us about President Trump's upcoming social media platform, Truth Social, and how you may work with them?
Absolutely. And I last spoke with the president on Sunday morning. I think I caught him when he was on the golf course. It was a little bit of a brief conversation, but I actually welcome the fact that President Trump is getting back in the social media arena. What a lot of people don't realize is about 20, maybe 25% of his supporters quit social media when he was deplatformed. So this has never been about GETTR versus Truth Social. This is about taking power away from Silicon Valley oligarchs and decentralizing more. So it's not just Twitter and Facebook who have all the control. And there's plenty of room for a lot more platforms to be out there. I think ultimately this makes all of us better, and I hope President Trump does very, very well with his platform, just not too well.
Well, once again, they overreached on the left and opened a door to new opportunities. We're going to be watching the growth story that is GETTR. Jason, it's good to see you this morning. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Maria.